My in-studio guest, his career as a sports producer and executive spanned 5 decades, won 16 Emmy Awards, produced and directed 5 Olympics for ABC, became the producer of Monday Night Football at age 27 back in 1972. Responsibility was primarily producing Howard Cosell, hired Dennis Miller in his second go-around with Monday Night Football as executive producer of NBC Sports. In the years he was there, he launched the national careers of Brian Gumbel, Bob Costas, and others. He is none other than the legendary Don Ohlmeyer. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
I am thrilled to have you here at the outset of another scouting combine on television. I mean, that's I guess, the reaction about what do you think seeing nonstop coverage, Olympics in a way, style, round-the-clock coverage of an event like the NFL Scouting Combine, Don?
Well, I mean, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it as no one ever went broke underestimating the taste of the American public, or it's really a terrific osmosis of television to where, people who are passionately interested in something like the Combine, because they're passionate football fans, have the opportunity to see wall-to-wall coverage of it. And I think, that's fantastic. I mean, when I first started in the business, NBC had the baseball game of the week. Mm-hmm. And unless you lived in a town that had a team, that was the only baseball you saw all week. This weekend, there'll probably be, on Saturday, 30 college basketball games you can see in Los Angeles. 40 years ago, there were maybe 3.
And so now you've got yourself all these choices. Yeah. And when Monday Night Football hit, that was a revelation for people to be able to sit on a Monday night and tune in a football game. And that blew people's minds. But now here we are showing guys essentially running in straight lines in spandex. And it is one of the most highest rated programs that the NFL Network puts on TV all year. Back in the day, could you have ever envisioned that if I had told you that when you were sitting down for one of your first Monday Night Football broadcasts, Don?
No. I mean, I think, when I started in the business in 1967, mm-hmm. There were 3 television networks. Each network probably had 6 or 7 producers. Mm-hmm. So that's 21, probably same number of directors, maybe 40 production assistants at the 3 networks. ESPN goes through that on their morning show.
Right.
I mean, it has so exploded. And the choices have so proliferated that a lot of times, as a viewer now, I'll find out that an event was on television after it's over that I didn't even know was on television. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's great. You can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and watch the Australian Open.
It's truly unbelievable when you think about it.
If you're an NFL fanatic, you've got the NFL Network. If you love golf, you can watch golf 24 hours a day. I mean, it's, the opportunity for the sports fan is fantastic.
I'm with Don Ohlmeyer, 16-time Emmy Award-winning television producer, executive, also spent time with the West Coast entertainment of NBC when Seinfeld, Friends was the must-see TV is a slogan you came up with. I'm here with Don Ohlmeyer here on The Rich Eisen Show. I got to get your best Howard Cosell story. I know that there's got to be dozens upon dozens upon dozens, but what's your favorite Howard story from back in the day, Don?
Well, Howard was one of the most talented people, I think, ever, forget about sports television, mm-hmm. ever in the television business. Mm-hmm. And he had this great bluster about him and this great outward appearance of bravado. But underneath he was, in many ways, a very insecure guy. I mean, mm-hmm. We'd finish a Monday night game and get back to the hotel at like 2 in the morning and By the time everything calmed down, you get to bed. 5:30 the next morning, my phone would ring. Kid, was I terrific last night or what? And I'd say, Howard, you were out of sight. You were fabulous. Can I go back to sleep now? I guess, one of my favorite moments, I hope the story's not too long, but we were doing a game, as best I can recall.
Yes.
It was New England versus the Redskins in the old Patriot Stadium.
Yeah, sure.
And
like early 70s you're talking about right now?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I'd have all the names right, but anyway, the game is going along. One of the things that I did in my job was to try and get close to the coaches and the assistant coaches. Mm-hmm. And if they trusted you, they would tell you things that you could use during the game because they knew you wouldn't
Sure.
let on beforehand, so it would be a competitive disadvantage.
But you'd slip this information to your on-air talent.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And some of the football information I tried to give to Howard, because Howard knew everything that was going on in the league, but he was not into the X's and O's.
Sure.
And I didn't want to ever confuse Don with facts because that would blow his whole game.
Dandy Don couldn't handle the facts back in the day? Okay.
Oh, he was fabulous. Anyway, so we're doing this game, and I was very close to one of the assistant coaches for the Redskins, and they had told me if we get inside the 10 but not inside the 5, the first play will be a pass to the tight end. So the Redskins run down. They're down 14-0. They get the ball to the 9.
Yeah.
And Frank is talking about, it's important to score when you're down 2 touchdowns. You don't want to get too far behind. And Meredith is talking about how when you're inside the 10, the field is smaller, so it's more difficult. And I hit the key. I said, pass to the tight end. And I hit the key for Cosell's IFB in his ear.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Dan DeRue, you must remember that the angular one, Jackie Smith, is a prime target for a moment like this. Drop back for a pass, touchdown to Jackie Smith. And I can just see Cosell up in the booth with his cigar, looking at Meredith. So now we get later in the game, it's the end of the first half.
Yeah.
There's like 2 seconds to go. Washington's on like the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
They send the field goal team out. And Gifford's talking about tightening the gap, and Meredith's talking about what it does emotionally to score, even if it's just a field goal right before the half. And I hit the key, and I said, Howard, Bragg can't kick it that far, and watch for the fake. And so Howard says, well, Dan DeRue, you must remember that Bragg's leg is not what it once was. And he can no longer be consistent, particularly on a night like tonight. And holding for the Redskins is fresh from the Canadian Football League, Joe Theismann, who's always a threat to run. Snap the ball, Theismann takes off, runs for a touchdown. And I can see Howard.
This is the guy.
So, Howard, the game's over. I'm flying back to New York with Howard. I'm waiting in the limousine. And Howard would, at the end of the game, go from box to box. And he would do he'd have a run that he'd get going. So he gets in the car. He's had a couple of see-throughs.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. No kidding.
Says, Kid,
what a shocker.
Kid, did you hear me tonight? I called the Jackie Smith play before it happened. I was presuming the fake field goal, and here these boobs from that played the game never thought of those things. The coach was on top of everything. I said, Howard, that's great, but you're starting to think that earpiece that I talked to you on is your brain. And he'd done this run, I'm sure, before. Took a pause, took a beat. Oh yeah, thanks, kid.
See, now that's what my producers should basically be feeding stuff to me, and I should act as if it's my own information.
Yeah, we
right?
don't know what that's like.
You don't
at
even
all.
know at all. You have no idea what that. You have no idea what that's
It's called
like.
an IFB. Hit the button.
Yeah, that's right. Hit the button and talk to me. I'm here with Don Ohlmeyer. When we take a break, I want to come back, talk about your thoughts on some current events going on with Brian Williams, what's going on with him, and if you think he's ever going to get back to the anchor chair. And also, the SNL 40th anniversary just took place, and you had some integral moments, certainly with Norm Macdonald. Got a hit with that. If you will be so kind as to stay right there. That is Don Ohlmeyer right here on The Rich Eisen Show that also still has coming up Oscar picks with Jim Morris Sr. and your phone calls, 844-204-RICH. We're back in 60 seconds. Welcome back to The Rich Eisen Show. I have here in studio a man whose credits include the Superstars, Battle of the Network Stars, the Skins Game. This man created the Skins Game. He also was president of NBC West Coast in the must-see TV era, Seinfeld, Friends, et cetera, et cetera. He is Don Ohlmeyer here on The Rich Eisen Show. The 40th anniversary of SNL just went down.
Yep.
Norm Macdonald returned to a show that you once showed the door for him. What was the story behind that, Don Ohlmeyer?
Well, I find it fascinating. You make thousands of decisions, and one of them haunts you for the rest of your life.
So you would say that haunts
with Norm Macdonald fans, it haunts me.
Yeah, with Norm Macdonald fans, it haunts you.
No, look, I think Norm was a very talented guy, terrifically versatile comedian, and he was doing the Weekend Update, and I started getting concerned because in looking at the ratings, you can see, we have minute-by-minute ratings. And for the first time in the history of the show, during Weekend Update, people were tuning out. Weekend Update was like that thing that kept people tuned.
Well, it was an institution
after midnight.
Part of an institution.
Some weeks, Saturday Night Live would be on fire the first half hour, and Weekend Update would keep it going, and some weeks Saturday Night Live might be a little weaker, but people would stay tuned because Weekend Update was something they looked forward to. And I was concerned that the ratings were dropping off, and it didn't seem like Norm and the subject matter was clicking as it had in the past.
So was Lorne Michaels sharing that same belief as well at the time? Or?
Well, Norm and Lorne and I had talked about it a lot, and I finally felt we needed to make a change, and Lorne thought, well, maybe we should wait until the end of the year, and I thought, no, I think we should. You got to. My only reason for doing it was to try to. I thought you needed to do it to protect the show. Now, was I right? Was I wrong? You make decisions. Some are right, some are wrong, but it's certainly one that for the SNL fans and the Norm Macdonald fans, I'm constantly queried about.
And interestingly enough, as a couple weeks ago, on the same day, a fake newsman, basically from the mold of Weekend Update, you could make a case that the Weekend Update of SNL was the spawned The Daily Show.
Right.
And so the fake newsman, Jon Stewart, says he's leaving, and the whole country's wondering, how are we going to move forward from that on the same day that Brian Williams is suspended, an actual newsman, for 6 months? How do you think Roone Aldridge, your mentor from back in the day and an ABC newsman after the ABC Sports, would have handled the Brian Williams situation, Don?
Well, I'm not sure that he would have handled it too much differently than the way it's been handled so far. Brian took himself off the air, and NBC's looking into the matter. They've given him a 6-month suspension, and then they'll make a decision what they're going to do. I would think it's, I know Brian. I like Brian. I think he's a talented guy. He's a very funny guy. Maybe he should take over The Daily Show. I think they're going to have a tough time putting him back on the air because once the face of NBC News becomes the punchline of a bunch of jokes, as this has led to, it's going to be very, very hard for a lot of people to erase that from their minds. And I think everybody deserves a second chance. I think I have no idea. I mean, if I ran into Brian today, I'd probably steal Jay Leno's line to Hugh Grant when he came on after an unfortunate unfortunate instant.
Yeah, you conflated the words right there. When he basically said, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah.
Right. So, do you think Brian Williams will be back in the chair? Yes or no? Don Ohlmeyer.
Hey, it's television. Who knows?
Right.
I would, although I think everybody deserves a second chance, I would doubt it. I would tend to doubt it.
That would be just a mind-blowing scenario to a man who was easily the most trusted man in news. To even use the past tense, it's really a shocker.
Well, I mean, if your main commodity for the job you do is credibility, it boggles the mind that you would do something like that, I mean, it just boggles the mind.
Don Ohlmeyer here on the Rich Eisen Show. So why did you decide not to go with announcers that one game? There was a
The announcers game?
Yeah, the ancerless game. Why did you just decide?
Well, although
back in the 80s, early 80s, I believe that
was. Although I denied it, we had, every year we'd have two Saturday games. And we were in, for the first time, a real kind of dogfight with CBS. NBC had the AFL, or AFC, which was the smaller market teams. And CBS had the larger market teams. And we were, for the first time, I think in history, in kind of a dogfight for the ratings battle. And we had this dog game, the Jets in Miami. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what could we possibly do to get people to tune in to this dog game? And I said, I know. We'll do a game without announcers. Because I always felt that announcers talk too much. And on the other hand, viewers always complain about announcers.
Yeah.
And so here was an opportunity to send a subtle message to the viewer that you're going to miss these guys if they're not there.
Right.
And here's a way to send a not so subtle message to the announcers that, it could be done this way.
Let's just see if you really matter or not, you talking head, you.
And we got a much bigger rating than we I mean, the press jumped all over this.
Yeah, so did you think about doing it again? Or
no, because it's only good once.
Well, do you think it could be done again now? Do you think that would just to try it again one more time?
I think you could. Well, look, I mean, the sophistication of graphics has gotten so far beyond where we were in the early 80s. I mean, this was like the troglodyte era. Today, there's almost, in my opinion, there's too many graphics. They're not in long enough. It's like you have to have gone to the Evelyn Wood School of Speed Reading to read the graphic information that you're confronted with. So I think easily you could do a game with no announcers. I think good announcers really add something to the enjoyment of the game. I mean, I think, when I watch Sunday Night Football with Al and Chris Collinsworth, to me the game is much better with them there.
You think that's the best watch in the NFL right now? Would be Sunday Night Football?
I think they're the best ever.
Ever?
Ever. I think that they're the best ever. I think they're better than. I have great respect for John Madden, who I think was, until the team of Al. I'm not sure Chris, on his own, goes toe-to-toe with Madden. I think Chris and Al go toe-to-toe with whoever you pair Madden with.
That's Don Ohlmeyer here on the Rich Eisen Show.
But I'm a moron.
No, listen, I can't imagine anybody from whom the praise could be any higher, certainly for the NBC crew. Thanks for coming on here. Don.
My pleasure,
I would
Rich.
love to have you back here anytime.
Anytime you want me.
Well, I know how to get in touch with you.
Yes, you do.
That is for sure. Don Ohlmeyer, the father of the Beast. You know, we nicknamed your son the Beast here.
The Beast.
Yes, yeah. He's beast mode. He's the Beast. He's our coordinating producer, son of my most recent guest here on the show, Don Ohlmeyer. Thanks for coming on.
Good to see you, buddy.
You bet. Same here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.